Hi, I'm Renelle Golden, and you're listening to the Movie Making Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Audible.
Did you know Audible offers way more than just audiobooks? With an Audible membership, you can enjoy an incredible selection of content like documentaries, immersive spatial audio, and sleep meditations. Movie Making Podcast listeners can try Audible out for 30 days when they use our exclusive link. You'll also get a free credit to use toward any title with your Audible trial. Go to audibletrial.com/moviemakingpod to sign up today. That's audibletrial.com/moviemakingpod.
Today we are here talking with Stanley Livingston. He is a director, a writer, and a producer. Welcome, Stanley. I'm so excited to have you here talking to us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, I'm really excited to just learn about your career and all the things that you can share with, filmmakers and lovers of film and television. So let's just start at the beginning. How did you get into this industry?
Well, my parents moved to California in 1948. 1950, I came along. We lived in Hollywood. And when I was very young, I guess about 2-3 years old, my parents took me to a swim school in Hollywood.
Oh.
And they wanted me to learn how to swim. And there were a lot of Hollywood-type people there.
Okay.
The lady that ran the swim school was very entrepreneurial and got a lot of publicity for her pool. And because of that, a lot of producers, agents, casting people were bringing their kids there to learn how to swim. Anyway, there was an agent there, and she took a shine to me and thought I might have the right qualities to make a child actor.
You were really little. That's
Yeah. That was about 1954, I guess, something like that. But I was cute, a little bit extroverted. So she thought I had the right qualities, whatever those qualities are.
You were one of those little guys that steal the show? Like you just take over the room when you walk in and everyone's fascinated and entertained?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess I gravitated toward that, nursery school, kindergarten, first grade. I wanted to be on all the shows, and I liked the singing and dancing and being the host and all that. So I was already drawn to that. So it was just kind of furthering that, but in a more professional way.
That is very cool. And eventually, obviously, you are known well for, I think the show had like over a decade, maybe 12 years or something. My Three Sons. You were the little guy of that family.
I started off as the youngest son. I was Chip Douglas, and there was Robbie Douglas, played by Don Grady, and Mike Douglas, who was played by Tim Considine. And then the show evolved as it went around. The years passed by. Tim Considine left. We had an original grandfather on the show, Bub, who was played by William Frawley, who most people remember from I Love Lucy.
Yes. Oh, wow.
So when he left, he was replaced by William Demarest.
Wow. So were you guys like family? Did you kind of become like a family?
Yeah, we were.
Everything that goes with family?
Yeah, anytime you work with people in I guess you could say we did shows consecutively, even before My Three Sons. I did about 4.5, almost 5 years on Ozzie and Harriet, which is where I got my start. Yeah, I was a neighborhood kid on that. I came on as an extra. Ozzie gave me a line to say, and he liked what I did and kept calling me back. So from 1956 to 1960, I did about 15, 20 episodes of Ozzie and Harriet, and that got the ball rolling for me. Allowed me to start getting movies. I did some movies back then. I did the Bonnie Parker story, which is an early, I guess you would say, Bonnie and Clyde movie, and it was paired with another movie, AIP, who made all the horror films, Roger Corman films. So this might have been just a little bit before Roger Corman, though. They were making films, exploitation films. So they paired that with Machine Gun Kelly, and it was in every drive-in theater. And then I did Rally Around the Flag Boys with Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward. Please Send Me Some Daisies. Yeah, yeah.
At
Just
some point, your career kind of evolved, and you started writing.
yeah, much later, but you
Yeah.
know, I
Was
think
that
I
a
wrote a.
natural evolution then through being in so many things to become a writer?
Well, before I guess I was a writer per se, I was interested on the other side of the camera.
Gotcha.
And when I was about 17, 18, I decided I wanted to pursue more of that and probably less of acting if the acting
So
came to me.
directing.
Great. But yeah, I wanted to be a director and even more than that, producer, where you're putting whatever you're doing together and making all the calls and talking to the people and,
You're like
planning the
the
shoot.
brains behind the operation or something. I don't know what you'd call that.
If you're a producer, you are everything.
Yeah,
You're the guy that brings the coffee and donuts to the set. You're the last guy to leave to make sure they picked up all the parts of the camera
kind
and
of the glue that
right.
it
And
all
you're on all
together makes
the
it tick or something. I
yeah,
love
you're
that.
on all the contracts, all the paper, and depending how it got funded, you could be the
What was
manager of the
the?
LLC.
Oh my
It's
God.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah, we can learn a
Yeah.
lot from you too. What was the first thing you directed?
I think I did some PSAs, way
Oh,
back.
okay.
I remember doing a anti-smoking commercial. That was probably about 1969,
Oh, that's
1970.
awesome. That is
Yeah.
a good place to get your feet wet and to get acclimated to that for when you moved into film and television.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the guy that we hired went on, he's a pretty big character actor, a guy named Ron Rifkin.
Oh,
If you saw LA Confidential, he
yes.
played the mayor, and he was in, what did I watch? I just watched the movie the other night, Sum of All Fears. He was one of the president's men in that. Yeah, he was a really nice guy. And yeah, we had fun making it, made it down in Manhattan Beach. And
Oh, that's
yeah,
really cool.
for some reason, I remember that one.
It must have been impactful for you. Do you have like a favorite project you ever directed that made left that impact?
Well, I think my most recent thing, it's not like doing a feature film, but I got to work with all my friends because I brought them into it. We were talking earlier about that, the Actor's Journey Project.
Yes, yeah.
Which I guess I should explain what it is.
It's cool.
It was done as a documentary. What it is, it's actually an educational piece for actors. Has nothing to do with acting. That you can get anywhere. You can go to mom and pop acting schools in whatever city you live
Get
in.
the how to act anywhere, but this
Well,
is like
yeah, you have to learn. You have to learn the art and craft of acting because that's what you're going to be doing when you're on camera, if you get hired or on stage.
right.
But there's this second component that, the schools don't really talk much about, and nobody does. But as soon as you graduate from whatever school, whether it's an acting academy like the Actor Studio in New York or someplace out here, UCLA, USC, you're suddenly confronted with, how do I get work? And how do I go about this? And who do I contact? And what does this mean? And this guy said that, but I have no idea what he's talking about. And what do I do first? What do I do second? What don't I do so I don't get myself in trouble?
Right.
And that's never really been clearly laid out in a program.
It's kind
That's
of
both comprehensive. Yeah, it is. It's like a big secret.
Yeah.
And it forces actors to kind of go off and learn it on their own or rely on other actors to get information.
Yeah.
And they're the worst, even if they're a couple of years ahead of you. They're still scrambling in the dark and trying to figure it out themselves. So I thought, why not a program that would teach actors all of this stuff that it took us maybe 10, 20 years to learn?
It's brilliant.
And just
it's needed.
Give it to actors who've just gotten out of school and are ready to pursue this.
Yeah.
And not that, it's still not easy, but it's a lot easier if you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And what
I
not
see
to
a
do,
lot
so.
of actors, that I obviously I interview them here and I've cast them and worked with them over the years, but I see a lot of them. And it's true for anybody in the industry, but they end up in kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like a sink or swim. So they want to be this actor, but how do you survive? How do you buy groceries? How do you pay the rent? How do you get yourself in front of the right people? Like it's this, and my heart goes out to everybody doing this because obviously we have to love it and have a passion for it if we're going to survive. But I think something like what you're putting together sounds like it could fill in some of those blanks and add to their success.
Yeah, we talk about that. I mean, what you have to keep in mind is that every actor you see on screen, whether they're a big star, a mid-level star, or, a working actor, have gone through those problems and those crises that come about as you're making your way into the industry and trying to surmount that wall from being outside the industry into the industry. And we have a whole segment on what a lot of actors have done and recommendation. Yeah, the actor's journey, it's not just actors giving advice. I thought, well, that's good, but it's kind of myopic in that you're getting this one point of view. So my idea was I wanted to bring in everybody that's kind of in the picture and related to having a career in show business. So I brought in directors, producers, executive producers, showrunners, casting directors, agents, managers, talent managers. I even had the president of the Screen Actors Guild at the time we shot.
Right.
Also the president of the Directors Guild at the time we shot. So you're literally getting the information for people that have done this 20, 30 years. And
that's very cool.
I like to say they're the horse's mouth you're getting it from.
I love that. Yeah. That's very, very cool. It sounds like something that could be very helpful to them.
Well, it is important who you're getting information from. One of the big problems is people, they go to the school, take the classes, and they assume their acting teacher knows everything and has revealed everything. And that's just not the case. What happened is the people that become acting teachers, maybe, when they finish, tried to get in the business, and some of them got a little bit of work, but they didn't stay there really long enough to get a full understanding themselves of how the industry operates, what the processes are, and what you're going to be expected to do and know if you're an actor. So they turn to teaching it.
Yeah.
So they've got nothing to give their students in that area, and that's really been the biggest problem of all.
Yeah.
What do we do? And it's like, I can't help you. I didn't do it. I became an acting teacher. So if that's your career goal, then take the acting classes and become an acting teacher and get a degree and whatever. But if you're trying to actually get inside the industry, you need this other component.
I think it'll fill a nice void. It sounds very promising and beneficial. We all need a little guidance, and we don't get that. We get the technical, we get the structure, we get what to do on set. But well, it's divided up into, I think there's 65 segments that comprise the actor's journey. Wow. And, the way we originally did it, we released it probably about 8 years ago. I guess it was on DVD, and it did fairly well. And then I went off. I had other things to do, and I couldn't operate the company because it was a lot more grunt work when it was a DVD. And I just laid it aside. And I guess just this year, I decided to basically get back to it. And I thought it would make a good candidate to be streaming media. Because now it's portable. You don't have to run home and plug into a DVD. You may want to watch them before you go on an interview or an audition and have it right there at your fingertips, or just, to have it portable like that. Yeah. So, hopefully we'll have it up by the end of the month. And, That's fantastic. Where can people find it when it's time?
It'll be at our website, which actually is built. It's just offline until we connect up the video.
Ready. Gotcha.
But it's called theactorsjourney.com. That's where you'll go, theactorsjourney.com.
Pretty simple.
And there is some stuff on YouTube that I put up a while ago so people could get a feel or the flavor of the people that we brought in to do. We had people teaching like Henry Winkler and Michael York.
I love all these people. Wonderful.
Yeah, the director directed all the Lethal Weapon movies and The Omen and Superman. Richard Donner was one of the directors we had involved. I mean, just a ton of pretty big people. Like I said, one of the criteria for bringing them in was, first I had to know them and know their stories and know what I was trying to extract out of them information-wise. But all these people to a person have 30 or more years. I think 55 of the people have either won or been nominated for Academy, Emmy, Globe Awards. So they're recognized by the industry. Over 100.
Wow.
There's over 100 people that teach this program. So it's a little bit like masterclass. They kind of focus on one person, and all their programs or courses are kind of tailored around each person that they brought in. In other words, like Ron Howard's going to teach you acting, or Aaron Sorkin's going to teach you writing.
Did a writing
Yeah,
thing. I couldn't resist. It was the marketing you're writing or something that she did. And I was like, I want to know. And it was kind of cool. I'm like, she shared actually some stuff she actually submitted that got her those long running television series. And I was like, wow, I never got that from screenwriting class. So I was like, glad I did that on a whim. Like, oh, okay. It was pretty cool. Well, I love that.
This program would probably work for actors as well as people wanting to become directors, because it's the same industry you're trying to get into, and it's that same kind of work ethic that's involved. And what actors learn is, it's really dependent on you. If you go, oh, I got an agent, I can sit back, go to the beach now. Well, you're totally wrong. They work in conjunction with you, but you're still going to do most of the heavy lifting.
The footwork.
You need to do the footwork and the investigative work. And, you're constantly, even though you'd maybe graduated and got a degree in acting, you're still expected to be training and keeping your skills totally sharp. So it means you're in an acting school your whole life, basically, if you're going to be an actor, because you can go rusty pretty quick.
Yeah,
so you need to fall in with some people. Yeah. And, it's good to mix it up, not just get in an acting class, but get in, see what it has to offer, learn it, and then move on to another person who's teaching this, who might have, a little bit different point of view and different skills that they're teaching. So it's like the work, you do a certain kind of work, but then the next time you work, you may be playing somebody completely different and involves different skills. So it's required. I think a lot of people are, one of the biggest mistakes I think actors make is some of them walk out. They go on an acting call, and it turns out to be for a union movie, and they go in, they got a couple lines. So you don't have to join the union at that point. But a lot of people, because they have that voucher in hand, walk in and plunk down whatever it is, $3,000, and become members of the guild. But the reason you don't want to do that is in the beginning of your career, there's more non-union work going to be open to you. And if you've joined the union, you're not allowed to do that. And if they catch you doing that, you'll be thrown out of the union, never to get back in it. So it's very short-sighted to do that. It sounds like it's the thing to do, but it's really not.
It's tough. And right now I know so many SAG actors that, I get why they're on strike. I think it's very critical that that's resolved, especially these AI issues and stuff, but they're hurting. They're hurting. I know people that are like catering at restaurants now that had jobs on TV shows for multiple years in these popular series. And they're now catering, getting up at 4:30 in the morning and working till 5:30 at night. And I'm just like, oh God, scary.
Well, guess what? Even if there isn't a strike,
they couldn't,
unless you're really well-heeled,
this is true.
Have that second job. I have a whole segment on that in the actor journey.
Yeah.
It's great to work as a waiter, but there's other kind of jobs that you can do that don't necessarily mean you have to be an actor. But if you are one, you can get a lot of information that will be helpful to you as an actor, or you're meeting people and you're kind of
wherever you
you're rubbing you're rubbing elbows with somebody who might be able to do some good for you. And part of it is you're trying to show them what you can do as an actor, but a lot of it, they're bringing you in and just assessing you as a human being, and whether they like your personality. I've been meetings in my own career, where people size you up and decide whether you can do the role. And that's long before they send the script to you.
True.
Hopefully you get known for doing a certain kind of thing. That's probably the most beneficial thing of all. And then you've got to figure out what that thing is. That's the problem. Your image, your type.
Yeah.
You nail that down, you can be going, I think I'm a leading man, when you're not. And if you keep going out on roles like that and you're never booking a part, well, there could be that may be in your mind's eye, but not the industry's mind's eye. It's how do they see you, and to determine that so you can figure out what you're right for. Not everybody's right for certain roles. So
that's true. And they have to be okay with that. And that's something I watch a lot of people come to terms with. And, even me as a writer, because that's what my primary thing is, it's tough sometimes because people want something that might not be what I do. And like comedy, don't ask me to write comedy. I can make you cry, but I probably can't make you laugh. Maybe in real life because I'm sort of weird, but I don't think I could do it in my stories. But so you've watched this industry change over the years. What do you think about that old adage, sort of that people need to move to Hollywood to get into Hollywood? Do you think that's still true today? Does it still help?
It's another thing we talk about in the Actors Journal. I hate to keep plugging that, but
we gotta watch that.
No, the answer is yes and no.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you'll eventually want to come out here, but it's not good to come out here empty-handed, meaning you need to take your classes, get trained wherever the hell you are. It doesn't have to be in Hollywood.
Have something behind you.
And then I think it helps to work where you are because it's a smaller talent pool, so you have more of a chance of getting in. And then whatever you can do, what you really want to come out here with is a reel of some sort, whether you did it by working in independent films that were shot in your city, and films are shot all over. They're not just in LA or New York or Florida anymore, but they're all over.
Here in
Orlando. So what you want is you want a good piece of film on yourself. Yeah, that counts more than anything. And if it's commercials and film part. Because what happens is the reason you want that is when you do move to Hollywood, you've got something to show an agent that's out here and they can see your work. One thing is meeting you, but what have you done and what do you look like on film? And, they'll judge your capabilities. Right. And here's the other thing. If you come out here with nothing, there are people that are here that got here before you and that are starting to make their way into the industry.
It's a numbers you're one of many.
Right, you've got your reel from Cleveland, which may be some local commercials or maybe an independent film shot here. The people that are here and have been here a while, they have the same clips. However, it's on primetime TV, it's on primetime cable shows. They have scenes with the stars of the show in the clip with them, talking to them, and that trumps whatever you're coming here with. I mean, it's better than nothing because you have to have that to get in. But that's really what you're trying to do is get yourself cast and hopefully cast in a scene where, you have dialogue, even if it's, a couple lines, but you're holding the door for Al Pacino or you're, talking to Ben Affleck for 2 minutes. Here's your car keys, sir. That's better than anything
there.
You can get.
Yeah, I love that.
So, we teach people to, that is really what you're aiming for at first. And, just being attentive, and don't. The other things, people think they shouldn't do extra work. I'm completely against that philosophy. I think as long as you're not in the union, I think you're better off getting hired as an extra, not really to be the extra, although you'll do that work, but you're there to observe, see how this stuff's done, see how that director works, see how the actor that's working with that director works. So if you're paying attention and not just there eating up the catering, or talking to girls or other extras. That's work. Yeah. So, and you want to be dependable, no matter what you're doing, whether it's an extra or whatever. And, you want your ear to the ground because sometimes actors don't show up and they immediately will turn to an extra and go, anybody here have any acting experience? Yeah. And, a hand will go up and you just replace somebody and you went from somebody... Right, who wasn't, and you came in as an extra, but sometimes it's not just a line. You'll have a whole scene with 2 pages of dialogue. It can happen.
Yeah,
I've seen it happen.
Amazing. What do you think about? Because things are so different from like even 80s to now. What do you think about actors and social media and branding themselves?
It's kind of, I guess, a measuring stick or a yardstick of popularity, but I'm like, how does this really work? I mean,
I don't know, and I have a lot
you can look at those numbers and go, wow, this guy's got like 100,000 people following him or 200,000 people for this girl. You're maybe not making money. You got friends or followers. I don't know how that translates. But to them, I don't really know what it says. To me, out of the era I came in, it didn't mean a goddamn thing.
Yeah.
I was on a show that had 60 million people watching it every week. But when it came time to get out there, when I was an adult actor trying to go, from say being known as a TV actor and maybe
Right.
slightly stereotyped to get into films. There was a lot of casting directors that wouldn't see me because
Wow.
I had just come off a TV show and they felt I was too well known as the character that I played. And my take on it is, hey, potentially 60 million people will come and see me. I don't know
Yeah.
about the other actor, so you're missing out, not me.
Yeah.
You are. So
Yeah.
I had to fight
We're
that
kind of from the
monologue. So,
same time period. So yeah.
yeah. I mean, that
Wow.
was short sight. That changed though in the 80s, 90s when you saw people who were on TV shows like all the people in Friends say got a shot at a movie career. That was something that was just not going to happen. The doors were slammed in your face. If you've
Yeah.
been on that show back in the 60s, Friends, that would have been the end of your opportunity. They go, we don't want to see you. We know you're Jennifer Aniston, but that's the problem. You're Jennifer Aniston. Where, those people that did it at least got a break. They got to graduate in the film industry. Hopefully they got into a film that resonated, whether they were responsible for that or not, I don't know, but the fact that you're in it. But that can happen to everybody. What you're looking for is a part that can transform your career. And I mean, certain films have done that for actors. If you look at a film like American Graffiti, I mean, everybody that worked in that film ended up with a career afterwards, whether it was on TV or movie career. I know Paul Lamette, did a bunch of really high profile films. Ron Howard, went on to a couple other films and then Happy Days and then finally to a directorial career that's really what he wanted to do anyway. So it kind of opened a lot of doors for him.
I was watching
everybody.
Is it Henley Winkler?
Uh-huh. Yes.
I was watching him recently in the work he was doing in the show Barry. And my God, I just love him and what he can do on screen. And it was funny because, I grew up with those shows and, we always thought of him as the Fonz. And I remember going, wow, watching Barry, his character in particular, I'm like, oh my God, he's so good. Just so good.
Well, he was a good actor right from the start.
He was.
He sort of overcame being a stereotype. He was right on the edge of them giving you another chance and maybe realizing, wow, 100 million people like the Fonz, 1% come, it's 100,000 people coming to your movie.
Hey,
10% anyway. But
wow.
And then, it helped that the people that you're working with, one of them was Ron Howard. Guess who used
that does help.
Winkler? Yeah.
It does. But it would be such a shame, like, for people to be stereotyped and not get those opportunities. Like,
it's better now, but it's a very short window. You get a couple chances if you have a success and people want to use you again. The second you have a bomb, it's like, bam,
you're done.
And you got to do this all over again. I mean, your agent can drop you even though you had success. It's very fickle industry.
A little bit scary.
What you don't want is I tell people, you want success, but you don't want it too early in your career because you really need to learn the industry and the components that I'm talking about for that happen. Because if you got in there, you lucked out, you had some success, you did 4 or 5 things, and then your agent dies and suddenly you don't have an agent anymore and you're shopping for an agent. It can be, I don't care who you are, really tough to get another agent. Say, well, that guy already had his time. I don't want to waste my time.
Wow.
And if you don't know what you're doing, because everybody did everything for you because you're an immediate success, you're at a disadvantage. I always think new actors, that's the thing that they have to remember that they do have in their favor. You're new. This industry thrives on new and fresh faces. They're looking for the next Brad Pitt or the next Henry Winkler. Those guys have already had their shot and either have a career and it's going, but they're looking for somebody new.
Throughout your career, you've kind of done, oh my gosh, I think you've done everything. I don't know if you've held the camera, but you know your way around.
I do hold the camera. Yeah. No, I learned cameras when I was 18. I went to college. And,
oh, wow.
Learned all about operating. Of course, those were film cameras. So I also ended up having to learn about film stock and laboratory procedure.
That was hard work.
Submitting your negative, getting a work print back, cutting a work print on a moviola and all that. It became easier with video. and then video eventually became digital, which is kind of a hybrid thing that has, the visual qualities of
Yeah.
film almost. And that
Have
was a great place.
it is. It's amazing to me, the whole process. Do you have a favorite thing, like actor, director? Like, did you ever prefer one role over another, or were they
As an
all
actor,
good?
you mean?
No,
As an actor?
as a person in the film industry, because you've been a director, you've been a producer, you've been a writer, you've been an actor.
Mm-hmm.
Did any of those like steal your heart where you're like, I just want to do this? Or were you
I
always
would
absorbed
say
in all?
it's first producing and then next directing.
Okay.
Because what it turned out not to be a good fit for me, it wasn't the fact that I didn't like being an actor. I did. But like you say, the mechanics around it and the processes around it kind of were getting on my nerves. And it was only because of, my personality to not like sitting there reliant on somebody else to call me for work, waiting for the phone to ring and going in on an audition and waiting for the phone to ring again. And I just felt myself sitting there like waiting for things to happen when I'm the sort of guy that I'd rather make things happen.
You're get it done kind of guy. So you wrote
I'm
your
the guy
own
that
ticket.
I want to pick up the phone and organize something and go do it. I don't like waiting. And I mean, that's something that I think actors do now or do more of. When I first put this project together, that would be the only thing if I was to add something to it, and maybe I still will, was to tell actors, you don't want to wait around, but
producer's journey, because I would love that.
You know what? You could probably watch the actor's journey and you would get exactly what you need out of it. Maybe not the technical stuff, but I wasn't really planning on teaching the technical side. I mean, that you sort of, you go to school and you learn cameras and lenses. And I mean, to be really honest, you could probably shoot a movie by an iPhone.
Cell phone.
15?
I've seen
the newest one you can. That it has more megapixels in it than I had a Canon 5D Mark III, whatever it was, 5D Mark III.
Wow.
And it only had like 24 megapixels full frame, but you have this huge dynamic range and you could use lenses, but if you're careful and know what you want, you could shoot it. The only thing you can't do with it is record the sound. Same thing even with a professional camera. Basically you do record it, but for me it becomes like a temp track. So, guide you along, but you want the sound recorded through the most expensive mic you can get your hands on with a guy that's a good boom operator and a good recorder who's recording. Yeah, even better is Sheps. If you can get a Sheps mic, that's the best as far as I'm concerned. It's SHOEPS.
How'd you know I was writing that down?
I could tell.
But use one of those. You're psychic.
What you don't want to do is use like a Radio Shack mic or some of the lower end ones.
I missed that store.
How they get great movie quality sound is that almost everybody uses the Sheps mic.
Oh, wow.
And so that's the best. But, still, you need a good recorder. So sitting there with earphones and telling you, coming back, not just recording it, but, hey, I heard something, shoot that again because I don't know what it was, or I hear a buzz, or somebody burped in the background.
Sound guys are so important. I've noticed in the indie film level that a lot of times the sound guys, even if they have a good reel and you bring them on, they are scared to call it like airplane or, the AC. They don't say a thing and you don't know until you're in close.
They need to be given permission to call it because the bottom line is when you make a film, and like I said, it's pretty easy to get it look good just because of the dynamic range and what, even if you shot it with a Airflex or you shot it with an iPhone, it looks good if you've lit it right. But where the audience is not forgiving is if the sounds are tinny like this.
Oh my God, yes. And
which is what you're going to get. And that you can't fix that. So that's why, when you look at Hollywood studios, when there's a scene on the freeway, that's why they take over the freeway and there'll be just a couple cars there and they'll put in the traffic sound later at the level they want it. So they get the dialogue completely clean or as clean as you can get it.
Yeah.
That's what you're striving for. But if you don't do that when
So
you're shooting,
important.
or you allow sounds or buzzes to be there, they're baked in. It's
Yeah.
underneath the dialogue, and there's not much you can do about them.
Are
That
you?
we fix it in post is BS.
Yeah, it's not good. And ADR, I have never loved how it comes out. It works if you
Right.
have to, but I
It
don't love it.
it always sounds flat to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you try and
That's
put
the
some
right.
ambience under it, or room tone, and
Yeah.
even still, you can always tell it's been recorded somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. You really
Yeah, just
can. Have you, are you still actively or like producing and doing things, or are you just working on the actor's journey right now? It's a nosy
I'm working on
question.
the actor's journey right now because I just want it off my plate of
It's a
things,
bucket
off my
list thing.
desk.
I must do it.
And it was such a long and tedious project because I had to go out and raise the money for it, which was that took longer than making the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
Involved with some, people that raise money, and brokers and attorneys and all that kind of
You have
stuff.
amazing people. So
Yeah.
well.
And then you go to shoot it. That's kind of like an actor. That's your reward. I
Yeah.
always tell actors, when you're looking for work and doing the things you should be doing, that's the work. When you get a role, that's not work. That's the reward
The
for
work
the
is
work
the
you
work to
did.
get work.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's your reward for whatever you did to get that job.
So,
And same thing if you're a producer. You struggle for years to get something done. And then, when you get the money, you probably shoot it in 2 months, and then it's over and it's in post. So it's like, wow, I went through all that for just this little period of time, but that's it.
Post-production is really long. Does that count?
Yeah. Well, this was particularly long because, like I said, it was like it's an unscripted project.
Yeah.
So,
and
I couldn't have anybody help me because I'm listening to what the actors or producers or directors saying and assessing whether I wanted that in or whether it was valid. When I handed it off to an editor first, when I did have one or two of them, they kept calling me over. Is this guy, what he's saying? Is this good? Is this what you want? I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to do this myself.
Yeah.
So it was like to make it seamless, it was about a 3-year editing process.
Wow.
And then I realized we were missing some things, and I had to go back into production and shoot some other stuff. And then I thought I would bring in a host, get a celebrity host for it.
Oh.
And well,
you didn't really
thank God
need one.
Names will be not mentioned here, but they got busted for drugs. I'm like, if I would have used them and they would have been my host, that would have been the end of my project. It's like, great, you got a guy who's got all kinds of problems, who's now doing drugs and probably going to do time. You know what? And I just thought, you know what? I trust me. I'll show up. I know what the stuff is. And I'm not teaching it. So I'll just get you from segment to segment, and that'll be my little contribution here. And,
That's cool.
The big fish, they'll tell you what to do and how to do it, So that's the way I ultimately did it. But that scared the hell out of me because it's just like, wow, you could have, 5 years of your life erased because of some jackass that, God, not what he's seen. So it
is what it is. What one final question, and then I would love to do our 5 for 5. They're just goofy questions so people can know about you as a person. They're not too personal though. But what advice would you give somebody, actor or otherwise, entering the entertainment industry?
Well, like I said, the main thing is getting yourself educated. Educated in 2 ways. One, on the acting side, the art and craft of acting, which doesn't end even though you graduated from some school or academy.
Right.
It goes on and on and on. I mean, there's other reasons that it goes on. You're meeting other actors, you're meeting other people, you have your ear to the ground. If you're graduating, you're just by yourself, you're dead in the water.
Yeah.
And then that other component, the business side, which is probably as important. I mean, you can't be an actor without learning how to act. But the other side is you won't be an actor unless somehow you're able to learn
the business of acting.
Yeah, it's just it just takes too long. You'll run out of funds. You'll be disgusted, disenchanted, frustrated. All the words of like, wow, I thought I was going to be welcome. Especially people that go to Yale or Harvard and have spent north of $100,000.
And
Yeah,
they're
I
thinking
think the
that's
industry is
a
waiting
kid.
for them with open arms. Nobody cares. They
No.
don't even care that you went there. That's the crazy part.
Yeah. They care about
Yeah.
what's on your demo reel.
Yeah, they just care. Do you look like your picture and can you deliver when you
Mhm.
get in the room? And what do you like and what can they find out about you to
Oh
make
my
sure
gosh,
you're
so true.
reliable? Yeah,
Yeah.
because they have to get insurance. And if you're a wacko and cause them problems where they've got to use the insurance, believe me, you'll never work again.
Oh my God. I never thought of that. That's true. That is true.
Well,
Wow.
that's why I always tell people, look, get whatever you're doing with drugs, get it over with, because you may have to see a doctor before you're approved to be in the video,
Do that.
or the movie that you're in, and
Yeah.
they'll come back to producers and say, hey, wow, this guy's got all kinds of drugs in his body, and for the producers, like, well, I'll pass. It's just easier to get somebody that doesn't have those liabilities.
There's enough. Yeah. There's next
Yeah.
option. It's true.
It's just next. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you have been awesome to talk to. I bet I could talk for hours just learning, but I'm sure you've got things to do. But I'm going to ask you 5 goofy questions.
Okay.
Here we go. All right. Question number 1. What's your favorite food?
Mexican food. Taco.
Mexican's great. I love it. I love it.
I'm
Even
from California.
I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? Yeah. Okay. Next question. What's something non-film related that inspires or motivates you in life?
Paintings, like paintings at the museum, but it still crosses back to the entertainment industry. When I first wanted to be a producer, and I thought at times I may have to be the cameraman, I wanted to go there and study what I thought, because you can't really impart that. You have to see something to know what it is. But going to a museum is a great chance, especially in New York, to look at master paintings and look how the people are positioned, the composition, where the lighting's coming from, the lighting source, and trying to remember that. So when you set up scenes, you could turn on a light bulb and that's your thing, but somebody else put the light bulb over here, maybe put a color on it, and maybe shield it a certain way. So you're going from just having light to trying to do something artistic
and
with
it all ties back in. Every time I look at art, I see a story. So you kind of are seeing a story. It's beautiful.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. Next question. This one's hard. I don't know how I'd answer it, but what is something that you have always dreamed of doing, but maybe haven't done yet?
That's a good question. Probably traveling more. Although I don't even know if I want to do that in this day and age.
Right now, I'm a little scared. Yeah.
Like dangerous. Yeah.
California. But yeah, it's
if you go to Europe, or God forbid you went to Israel, I'd be on a plane coming back. But just about anywhere, there's just crazy people out there, and a lot of them don't like Americans, and you just don't want to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. But, I still would probably like to travel, even if it was just in the United States. It just seemed like I was always working, never got to do it as much. I'd just like to get on a train and go across Canada.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That would be cool. Yeah. I mean, I've flown so many times that I don't even look out the window anymore. I roll my jacket up and I go to sleep till we're landing in Washington or New York. Yeah, it's like I've seen that too many times.
Okay, train is in your future. Got to go on a train trip. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 4. What is your favorite song to sing when you are driving in your car?
Probably a Beach Boys song.
Yeah?
I just, I was into the Beach Boys. Well, I was into the Beatles when I always liked the Beach Boys. They came first, and I loved every song that they had out, but somehow I transitioned into the Beatles and kind of thought them as artists.
Right.
But I went back about 4 years ago and started rewatching and listening to Beach Boys songs, especially the later stuff. And I'm just blown away. And now this really pains me to admit that I think the Beach Boys were better than the Beatles. I mean, if you listen to the music that Brian was creating later, like Surf's Up or, Warmth of the Sun, those kind of songs are just mind-blowing, for their intricacy, for harmony. Yeah, I mean, well, I liked groups that had harmonies. I remember when I was a kid, because I was always into music. We lived near Hollywood, Sunset Boulevard, where Wallach's Music City was. My dad would go there, and We had little booths where you could audition records. So he'd be in there with his opera records, and I'd have like Chubby Checker, I'd have Chuck Berry, or
Yeah.
just different people that I liked,
Yeah.
including Beach Boys records. And so from an early age, but there was also stuff that I liked that I couldn't tell my friends that I liked, like the Letterman, the Four Preps. I was into that harmony sound, that four-part harmony.
I love Motown.
And then come to find out, that's really what the Beach Boys were all about. When I probably watched like 20 documentaries on Brian, because where did that sound come from? And it turned out he was more upfront about it. He liked that four-part harmony, liked all those college style groups that had the four-part harmony. And then what he did is he took that and said, well, I like rock and roll too. How about if we took the four-part harmony and hook it up with Chuck Berry?
See, there you go.
And that's what they were doing in the beginning. I love that. I mean, like unbelievably successful with that. It was like a new sound, but kind of pulled from the fusion of two different things. But as the music progressed and got more intricate and complicated, and almost like you listen to a church choir or something, some of the
too much harmony. Who knows? But
yeah. I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
Some of the songs, and hearing other people do it. I know in Surf's Up they had. I saw him once, I think at the Greek Theater. By accident, I went to see somebody else, but he was the opening act. Was Vince Gill? And he's kind of a country guy, and I just wasn't ever really into country stuff. But I walked away thinking, wow, that guy was talented, had a really good voice.
Yes.
But if you ever have a chance, there's a video up with him doing Surf's Up. Oh my God, it's probably better than Brian. Yeah.
Oh, no way.
And then I just found a little piece of a documentary where somebody interviewed him now about that, because that was probably 20 years ago when he did it. And he said he got invited because it was like a thing where they were honoring Brian Wilson. And he was one of the guys, I think it was David Crosby, Jimmy Webb, him, some other people. And they asked him to sing Surf's Up, and he never heard it. So anyway, what happened was he said, okay, yeah, I'll do Warmth of the Sun. And he was familiar with that, but he never heard Surf's Up. Somebody sent it to him, and he was like, came back, called him and says, are you crazy? Are you kidding me? How are you going to do this song? It's like so intricate, so many. I don't think I could sing that. I can't sing that. And the guy just said, well, why don't you sit with it for like a week and just see what you can do with it.
Oh, wow.
And anyway, what he ultimately did with it is beyond belief. I mean, I'm blown completely away. Did he just do
it on stage, or did he release it?
Yeah, it's on stage. He actually does it with Jimmy Webb singing part of it, and then the last part's sung by David Crosby, and then the three of them. But the way the harmonies are interlaced is beyond belief.
Oh, I wrote that down. I will look for it.
Yeah, check that out. Yeah, just go to YouTube, type in Surf's Up. There's a version where Brian sings it, not originally, although you can find that too. But apparently that concert that was done, he does it there, it was probably about 15 years ago. And his voice is still pretty good. He's not doing the high-end part anymore. In fact, it's Al Jardine's son that does that. Right. And then look for the one with Vince Gill, because I will.
That's cool.
I have never seen anything like that. That I just thought it was unreal.
It's kind of amazing.
What a voice! Yeah. What a voice!
He's pretty cool. I mean, I'm not a country person, but he's cool. Okay.
I'm not either. I didn't know he had that kind of range.
Yeah, I would have never guessed, actually, because country.
I don't even want to tell you what David Crosby, when they were done, he walked by him and flipped him off and said, F you. He was like so jealous.
He's like,
that's what he said to him. Yeah, even he was just completely blown away. Yeah, it's mind-blowing.
Wow. Okay. With that, I'm going to ask my last question, and then we will close. But what is your favorite movie?
The Sting.
Really? The Sting?
Yeah. With Robert Redford and Paul Newman.
Outstanding.
A buddy of mine worked on that. Yeah. A guy named Robert Crawford, who was Johnny Crawford's brother. Anyway, he was working for George Roy Hill, the producer-director of it, and he gave me because this is when I was writing. He said, hey, do you want the script? And I said, well, do you have the original script that came in before you guys rewrote it? And he goes, we really didn't do that much that much rewrite. He goes, this never happens. Usually you get
That doesn't happen.
and it's rewritten to death. Yeah, so he gave me the original and the final shooting script.
Did they sign it or did...
They did very little changes to it. It was just a perfect script. So
it's
really
not even
comes in
scribbled all over or anything.
Nope.
That's
they changed the name of the characters. They cut a scene, and I think they added a scene, and it was pretty much what came across the transom into their office.
That's so
yeah, I know.
That.
Well, what I liked about the movie, it's cool to watch, and it has some great twists and turns. But the greatest twist and turn of the movie is, they pull a sting on the bad guy and get his money.
Yeah.
The movie pulls a sting on the audience.
That's true.
You think you know what's going on, and at the end you find out what you thought was happening isn't what was happening.
We need great movies like that again. That's very cool.
Really written very well. Yeah,
yes. Well, Stanley, you have been a delight to talk to today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and sharing your information about the actor's journey and your career. And I can't wait to see when it comes out. So,
all right. Well, I'll send you a text or drop you a line or something, let you know what's up.
Keep it posted. I will check it out.
I will. All right. Thanks for having me on. You have a great day.
You too. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Movie Making with Renelle Golden is brought to you by Samira Entertainment, supporting indie films and the filmmakers who create them. Stop by their website to learn more. www.samiraentertainment.com. That's www.sameraentertainment.com. You've been listening to Movie Making with Renelle Golden. Be sure to come back for our next episode where we bring you the people who make movies you love. Got a topic about filmmaking you want to hear on our podcast? Send us an email at moviemakingpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.